What's happening? What's good, dough? It's your boy Idrif. I hope you and your family had an amazing holiday season filled with lots of joy, lots of time spent together, and lots of pizza, of course. Today, we're doing a very special episode. I try to do this once a year just to give you all a bit of a recap as to how the year went. Specifically, today we're going to go over my top 10 episodes, but I'm also going to throw in all of my honorable mentions in this episode too, just because I feel like just because your show didn't get a ton of downloads doesn't mean I didn't enjoy a conversation. I actually love all of the conversations that I have here on the podcast. If I didn't love them, if I didn't feel like you, the listener, would learn something from them, I wouldn't share them with you. Because at the end of the day, this is our journey together. You and I are learning on this podcast through this medium of audio or video if you're listening to it on Spotify or watching it, should I say, or on YouTube. We are learning together, and this is the fun of it, right? Is sharing all that great information, sharing these nuggets with you all so that we can learn, grow, and level up. So today, like I said, we're going to do the top 10 plus honorable mentions, and I'm just going to get right into it. At number 10, Arthur Bovino of NYC Best Pizza and Uni. This guy, he's the pizza cowboy, right? He's going off, eating a bunch of pizzas in New York, and just loves pizza culture. He's a writer, he's a journalist, but more importantly, he's super intelligent when it comes to putting yourself out there. And as a pizzeria or as someone starting out, you got to put yourself out there because the opportunities aren't just going to come knocking on your door. You got to go out there and find it. I remember him specifically saying, even if you make the best pizza in the world, no one's going to know about it if you don't share it. And so Arthur gives some actionable tips on how you can put yourself out there and get your pizza to the masses. Now, if you're completely fine making pizza for yourself and, for your family and friends and not having the world know about it, that's cool. But if you want to get your name out there, check out this episode. Oh, by the way, all these episodes are going to be linked in the show notes. And did I mention this podcast is sponsored by Uni? Arthur works for Uni. I just wanted to throw that out there. Thank you, Uni, for sponsoring this episode. Use the link in the show notes to level up your oven game at home or on the go. These Uni ovens are perfect. So get yours today. The second episode that we're going to be talking about today, number 9, Joshua Loden of Wicked Fire Pizza. My guy, this dude quit his 6-figure job, used to travel all over the country, right? Businessman, right? And was like, dude, I love pizza. Love, love, love it. I can't get it out of my mind. Oh, I also love this pizza community. Anytime I have a question about my pizza making, people are just responding. And today, this guy is now opening his own brick and mortar, right? And now he's the guy everyone's asking about pizza this, pizza that. And I'm so proud of this dude because he's a huge inspiration. He talks about how he quit his job, how he had the conversation with his wife, how he is so much more fulfilled as a pizza maker. And so if you're in that spot where you're looking to make this transition, right? Much like me, this episode is very near and dear to my heart. Check that episode out. By the way, again, all of these are going to be linked in the show notes. All right, let's go. Let's keep it moving. Next one, number 7, Robert Molesky of Millies Pizza in the Pan. Woo! This guy, action, moves super quick. And I think it was a circumstance of like having to move quickly because he went from being a server in the pandemic to having no job at all, right? And so it's like, what do? Right? He had a mortgage, he had a home, and so he was starting to make pizzas in his home oven. And what's cool about his pizza specifically is that it's an homage to Burt Katz from Pequod's or Bert's Place, if I recall his second restaurant correctly. But he's one of the few people who are paying homage to that specific style. And so it really blew up in popularity because after Burt Katz died, people have had like differing opinions about the style of pizza. And so he's one of the few people that makes pizza in the pan. It's not really Detroit. It's not like a cast iron pizza, but it's very special and unique. And he has an amazing story. So go check that out. Okay. Peter Reinhardt, Pizza Quest, number 6. Wow. As you may expect, Peter just drops knowledge bombs and dimes, and this guy has so much experience as a baker, as someone who does pizza media, so he has the opportunity to talk to a bunch of people. Since Peter is an author, he's also very philosophical with the way he describes some of the pizza topics that we talk about. It's really fun, and I love the metaphor he uses for pizza being a sort of a journey, a way of life in a sense, and that it's about like pizza itself is about self-discovery, and to me that really hits home, and I hope it does for you. I think you'll enjoy that episode very much, so go ahead and check it out. Peter Reinhardt was actually number 7. Number 6, Kaylee Ann from It's the Pizza Slut. My God, Kaylee is just a fun person to talk with. This was the second time that she was on the podcast, and you just gotta give somebody their flowers when they deserve it. Like, when you are killing it in the game, like, real recognize real. I'm not saying I'm killing it per se, but like, I'm saying we all see your hard work, your dedication, your passion, and the fun that you have running your business. She talks about her sourdough. She talks about traveling with dough. She talks about how much money she makes, sort of indirectly, but how much money she makes doing pop-ups 5 days a week. Yo, you're killing it, my gal. And so keep it on, keep on going, and support her. Check out the show. Again, link is in the show notes. I want to take a quick break here and actually pivot real quick to my first honorable mention. Now, Ryan from Sanctuary Pizza is a homie for show. Life of a Mobile Caterer. We get into a deep dive of like how he got started in the mobile catering business, but also the cool life that he lives by being able to go to these different spots. I think he goes to Yosemite, he talks about just like being out of a commissary or finding different ways to make your mobile catering business successful. Now, the cool thing about this is this episode actually released in December of 2021, at the very end. So he wasn't included in last year's list, but he was one of the most viewed last year. And so I wanted to throw him a shout out in this year's episode, because honestly, his episode is still getting downloads, and it's a very useful episode to learn more about the mobile catering biz. The second honorable mention I wanted to shout out. Now, this came out this year. It didn't make the top 10 list, but it is one of my more favorite conversations. And that one is Chris Townsend of Doughball Disco. Dude, I loved our conversation. Like, I learned so much from you, and I love, the mindset or the approach you take when it comes to shooting content, making your pizza, doing all of your creative work. I learned a lot from that episode, and it was just a fun one overall. And I just want to say, for anyone listening here that may be a guest on the podcast one day, Chris came prepared. I think it was like after the Arthur from Uni conversation, and he was like, bring your A game whenever you go on podcasts, and Chris surely brought his A game. So I want to give a special shout out. I would say that Chris was just shy of being in the top 10, but my guy, it was a fun chat. Okay, let's keep this party rolling. But first, before we get into the top 4, I want to give a special shout out to Cordo Olive Oil for sponsoring this episode. Cordo makes some amazing high quality olive oil. They make some next level olive oil, and you honestly have never had olive oil. If you're the average home baker, or even if you're a restaurant, like, your olive oil may be rancid. It may be a commodity oil. olive oil should be like olive oil should taste fresh. It's a fruit and like fresh pressed juice. And so it should taste fresh. It should have some grassy notes. It shouldn't taste like oily. Oddly enough, it shouldn't like stick to your tongue all nasty. So check out Cordo olive oil if you want to level up your olive oil game. It's great to drizzle on top of pizza, and it's even great to incorporate in some ranch, which brings me to my next guest, Sarah Minnick of Lovely's 50/50. We talk about selling $4 or $5 ranch, like the little 1 ounce cups, if I recall correctly. We get into this whole controversy, not controversy per se, but like, it's ranch on pizza. Like it's provocative. It's a little sexy for me, but some people hate it. But she talks about costing out her materials, and she was ready to charge $5 because of how like high quality her ranch is. And her ranch isn't no like Hidden Valley ranch. It isn't just like, buttermilk and onions. No, she takes fresh herbs, and she like, really puts some care into it. And we talk about that, how to shop for vegetables, her origin story is, as some of you may know, Sarah Minnick is just like one of the top dogs in pizza. She was on Chef's Table Netflix. She has made such a huge impact in the Portland pizza scene and pizza as a whole. So you're definitely not going to want to miss this one. Sorry, I got baby Lumi here. All right, I'm excited for this one. My guy, Matt Harrison, sourdough pizza, how to blow up on Instagram Reels. I think this one popped up at the beginning of the year because of Harry's like just reach. As it was a moment in time when he was one of the first pizza makers to really blow up on Reels. He took advantage of the opportunity and was posting video, and he was just getting views after views after views, and we were all kind of just like, whoa, Matt's getting them. So he talks about his experience there. He talks about being a home baker, baking bread, his unis, and Matt's a good friend, and so he too had a great conversation, I feel, and brought his A game. He had a new mic set up. He sounded really clean. And congrats to you and Katie, by the way, for recently getting married. Many, many congratulations. And so for you listening, check out his episode. It's a fun one. Again, all of these are going to be linked in the show notes. And I do apologize. I am feeding my daughter as I record this. And if you just heard her poop, she just did. So I'll be right back. Right, now we're down to the top 3. And for the third most downloaded, Mike Bayona, fermentation, respiration, pH, and sourdough. I feel like Mike always brings value to the conversation with all the experience he has from being a scientist, being a technologist, being a ex-uni worker. This dude just knows his stuff and comes correct on the podcasts. And I think we can all agree we love having him on. By the way, if you haven't done so already, check out the episode with him that I recently posted about his new business, The Bread Mat. There's a little challenge for you all there for you to be able to get a bread mat completely free. All you got to do is leave a review on this show on Apple Podcasts, of course, and then send that review over to me. I want to make sure that we support his business, and I want to just hear what you think about the podcast. So if you haven't left a review yet, please make sure to do that. Don't forget, email me or send it to me on Instagram at What's Good Dough. We're getting down to the top 2. I want to do one more honorable mention, and that is going to Fung of Leopard Crust. I was really amazed at Fung's ability to just be consistent. I loved our talk about creativity, and I love where she's taking her brand. Like, this girl's amazing. Killing it in Bangkok. doing pop-ups this year. Keep it up. Seriously, keep it up. I love what you're doing. And top two. These are fun. My friend Scott from Scott's Pizza Project. I had the absolute pleasure and honor meeting you and your family in person this year. Man, oh man, I am truly blessed to be able to even say that. And I'm truly blessed to be able to call you a friend because you are making moves in the pizza world. Not only are you consistently providing beautiful photos and videos on Instagram, inspiring the rest of us to be extra crisp and clean on our delivery, but also you're out there as an author. You're about to release your first pizza book. Maybe it's not the last, but definitely your first. And I am just so proud of you. Very many congratulations. If you're listening to the show, you can pick up and pre-order your book now. I think shipping is going to be out in February, but you can pre-order now. It's available on Amazon. Go support our friend in the pizza community, Scott of Scott's Pizza Project. I'm sure that book is going to be bringing some amazing value. You're going to see Nikki's photography skills. You're going to see Scott's creativity for pizza, and it's going to be worth the buy. So check that out. Link for the book and the podcast will be in the show notes. And finally, before I do the last one, I do want to say a quick thank you to everyone who is listening today. And I want to give a quick thank you to just you for listening to the podcast, for being a support of the show, for just hanging out with me. Both hanging on and hanging out. Because let me tell you, producing a podcast, recording shows, interviewing guests, finding people, marketing, all of that is a lot. And I know it's not perfect. It never will be. And I know sometimes it's up and down in quality. But I'm hoping to fix that. If you're listening today, I'm hoping that the episode, the audio is a little better. If you're watching today, the video is definitely better. And these little things, we're going to make the show way better in 2023. And I thank you for being here. I also want to thank all the people who took the time to speak with me about the show and how to improve it, grow it, all of that. Because of your feedback and input, I have a clearer sense of direction of how I want to take the show for 2023. That, alongside this top 10, is really going to help me figure out what I'm doing well, or that feedback, along with the top 10 episodes of this year, really helped me figure out what's going well with the show and what can be improved. So I appreciate you. I'm technically only 3 years into the podcast game, and I feel like I am way more comfortable than when I started. I am having way more fun. Granted, there's a lot more work, but that's okay. If it's not, nothing worth pursuing never came easy. Am I right? I hope so. Cool. Well, it's been really, really fun. I don't want to belabor this episode any longer than it has to. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to edit as much out just because, I'll be honest with y'all, it is New Year's Eve. I am recording this now. I've been slacking. It's the holidays, but this is one of my more favorite episodes to record because it really just gives me a chance to reflect. It gives you all a chance to check out some of these amazing episodes, and allows me to just speak to you all. One last time before we kick off the new year. Next year, I have some dope episodes planned out. I already recorded three, and I'm going to be re-releasing another one that we did back in 2021. And don't worry, I got some in the bank, but I did want to take a break in December just to kind of chill. But I wanted to make sure I get this out to you all today. All right, thanks for your patience as I deal with family and baby and just like the holidays. But 2023, I can't wait. Final episode, number 1, this year, it gives me a little bit of an indication of where my audience is at, where the interest is at. Not entirely. Like, I know some of you all want the stories. I know some of you all want the how to's with the pizza styles, but some of you are interested in starting your own pizzeria or growing into a brick and mortar or just leveling up your, I guess, how your hands are in the dough, so to say. And this year, number one episode is Alex Coons of Hot Tongue Pizza. How much money do you need when starting a pizzeria in 2022? Alex has some crazy stories about starting his pizzeria, and there's some ups and some downs. So if you are in that season of life, if you're looking to get into the brick and mortar space, especially, I always talk about how, the best pizzeria opportunity is in these places that are a little bit of a smaller town because you're bringing pizza, the craft, the quality, to a place where it's not really around. But Alex is opened up his pizzeria in Los Angeles, and there's a lot of competition in LA. And it's very expensive, right? The contractors, the permits, the rent. Alex talks about how much money he would like to have if he were to do this again. He's going to talk about some of the stories that he went through so that you can avoid it. It's really an action-packed, valuable episode. So I'm going to link all of those in the show description. Gosh, what can I say? What more can I say? I appreciate you all. I thank you for being here. I love you. Happy New Year. Till next time. Peace.